a little bit late. My cameras were not coming on. So welcome. Good morning and happy Friday. Friday we do a recap of what we talk about all week long. So let's get everyone going and let's get on board here. Okay, just waiting for all you guys to pop online. Remember, you can always catch me on Instagram, Periscope, YouTube, and Facebook Live, because that is what we're doing here. We are going over the healthy mind. So, again, I apologize for being just a little bit late. My cameras had this little thing that they just want to log into Wi-Fi and do all those good things. So, welcome. I'm Dr. Paul Dyer. Welcome to Healthy Mind. You can see the board is blank all week long. We've been talking about the wise mind last week. We're talking about the rational mind. Starting Monday, we're actually talking about the emotional mind. So let's recap of what we've been talking about. Okay? The wise mind. Again, if you guys have any comments or any thoughts, I know some of you watch this a little bit later throughout the week. You can always post it in the comments and just hit me back up, or you can always go to drpaulholisticscience.com and ask me any questions there. You can also catch all my other social medias on there. So, the wise mind. We know that the wise mind takes part from two different minds, right? We have the rational and the emotional, and this is the wise mind. Okay, so in the wise mind, we know that from the wise mind it takes from both parts, and it comes into what you say. It's always about the filter, right? And also the information that comes in, and then how you balance it out. And the reason why I'm going to put those 4 lines, because you have what you call a mental, you have a physical, you have a spiritual, and you know what the last one is? Soulful. Balance, action. That's all that is. That is all we really need to do, is that we have the rational, the emotional. We talked about the rational, information that comes in, and it's got the mental, physical, spiritual, and soulful, and it's the balance. And then and after that, it's action. That's the process. It's simple. I know that. Good morning. How you doing, honey? I know that when we talk about going over the science of it and how and the reasons why and how it can help, we did that all week long. So this is a free fall about putting it all together. And again, I apologize for not being on here just a little bit too late. But when we're talking about this, and we're talking about the wise mind pulling from the rational into the emotional, bringing it down into the information, moving it out to the 4 levels: mental, physical, spiritual, and soulful. We talked about the cellular part. We're talking about the neurotransmitters. We're talking about the different levels of the brain and where it goes to and how it reacts and what the information it pulls from. We're talking about transmission. Remember, we are nothing but a transmitter and a receiver. This is all this vessel is. We are transmitting and we're receiving, and often we're doing the same thing at the same time, unless you need to separate that. But you are transmitting and receiving all the time. Your brain is a chemical processor. It processes and it produces. That's what it does. It takes in and it produces. That's what the brain does. Your mind is the growth and development. So that is what we talked about all week long. And you know, again, applying, I'll always say this with everything I've ever done, and I just got finished with my prayers and my katas and my exercises, and I hope you're staying healthy, safe, and happy. And this is taking this time to be, a little bit more reflective and doing things that you need to do for you and your family, and specifically to serve others. Because when we talking about the wise mind, sometimes we are actually then talking about the conscious mind. And the conscious mind, not subconscious mind, because be conscious of who, what, where, and when. Right. I mean, it just seems who, what, where, when. Be conscious of those things. Be conscious of the who, what, where, and when. It is said often, many times, if you try to live too much in the future, you're going to miss what's in the now. If you live in the past, you're going to bring nothing but misery and sadness forward, good or bad. So know who you are in the now. Know what you are in the now. Know where you are in the now. Know when you are in the now. Those are those mental, physical, spiritual, and soulful, keeping that balance, and then you can form an action. I teach all my martial arts students and all the people I've ever trained, especially when it comes to the emotional reaction training or saving lives, right? Saving lives, it's about knowing what you are, knowing what you can do, and knowing what you're going to do. They're not all the same, and they can be the same at the same time for the same purpose, and that is called meaning that purposeful life, right? So again, if this is a wrap up, I know this is a Friday. I know hopefully you get out, and some people are in cold, some people are in hot, all over the world, all over the country. This is what we're doing, okay? We still have not tackled on, we're getting into some of those other influential times where our system of life that we have once known it is changed over, right? And I'm not talking about political leaders or political powers, but what we are is changing over. Where in the brain does the conscious mind exist? Conscious mind exists, and I'll probably get into more because it's more, when you talk about development of consciousness, consciousness is what they call the God gene, or is out there, because consciousness has been before we were born, after we were born. It comes from genetic makeup. When we talk about listening to our ancestors, it comes from consciousness, because we're genetically talking to each other throughout centuries and time. Time and space has nothing to do with consciousness. So when we get into the formulation of consciousness, and I know this seems to be a tough concept for a lot of people, because we're like, if I'm awake, aren't I conscious? No, because if we're talking about our pineal gland or our pituitary or something in our third eye or our chakras and all those different parts of our body that we can awaken, so we understand consciousness. Consciousness is the connection, and this is what spirituality is. And this is why I always put spiritual. Spiritual, soulful. Soulful is all things in everything. Spiritual is connected to everything. Consciousness is knowing the connection to all things. That's what consciousness is. Where does it exist? It exists beyond us. It exists within us and exists around us. I see it. I know it sounds so. I'm kind of a little bit in my 50s and stuff, and I'm thinking it sounds so new age, right? It sounds like this wooey type. My daughter calls, like, I used to call my daughter. One of my daughters called myself the woo ghost, because it was like, woo, you're talking this. But really, consciousness is so many things, and it's so often missed because it's something that's not tangible on this material world. When we're talking consciousness, we are outside the material world, but we don't negate the material world. So that's what metaphysics is. Metaphysics, and that's why, being the doctor of metaphysics, metaphysics is the study of all the sciences put together for our living cause. That's why I mainly say I teach the living sciences. And the living sciences is the mathematics, it is the physics, it is social health, it is mathematical health, it is cosmology, astrology. It's all those things, understanding it how it is and affects us, because that's the important part. Again, wrapping up on my wife has said, be in the now at all times, because that's the only place you can really be. You can reflect on the past and dream of the future, but you can only be in the now. That is so true. Those are good things, and I know that we're trying, a lot of people are trying to, but it seems like it's habit forming. And I think this is the kind of thing that if you don't develop the habit, not develop the practice and the training, it's so easy to get caught up. Just think about how futuristic you do if you're going shopping, right? And you're thinking about getting to the shopping center or going someplace and getting there. You miss all the traffic lights. You miss, I know you're probably scanning, and hopefully you're doing a defensive driving, and you're doing an observation, and you're driving real careful. But a lot of people really kind of miss everything between here and the drive there, or the walk between here and there, or the run between here and there, or the bike ride between here. We think about the number. We're doing exercises, right? We're thinking about how many do I have to do? How many can I do? How many will I do? Living in the now takes the practice of, you do one push-up, it's one push-up. Not, I'm going to do 10 push-ups and I'm at 6. Change that way of thinking, change that thought process. Even in your exercises, you can exercise of practicing in the now. So you take one step, take one breath, take one balance, understanding your motion in your body, understanding the fluidity that's flowing through your body, understanding the hemispheres of your brain. All that is in the process of a step. That's living in the now. Instead of walk, 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 there's the curb, there's the hill, there's the turn. Oh, I'm almost done. I got to get back. It's 10 minutes. I've been gone for a mile, or 2 miles. That's not living in the now. Practice, training, and once you do it enough, it does become easier. I so promise you that. I just been doing it for many, many, many years, and it still doesn't mean I can do so much, and there's still so much to do. Again, I apologize for being on late. You can always catch me. I'm here every Monday through Friday doing a healthy mind at 7 a.m. Please share, like, and comment. And if you have any questions, always contact me at drpaulwdyer@gmail.com. Again, I don't like to take up too much of your time. Starting Monday, we will be talking over the emotional mind. And then I guess with the consciousness that's been brought up by my wife, I think we're going to talk about languages and consciousness starting on the week after that. Because communications get misrepresented, it gets misunderstood, and there's a lot of things about communication. People say good communication makes a good relationship and a good world. But we don't have the same compilations of communication between us humans and between other humans. Animals do, but we don't. So, God bless, stay healthy, stay safe, stay blessed. Do your practice, do your training, have faith, do your get into a practice. This is hopefully what this information is doing, is so you can get into a practice. Again, happy Friday. You guys have a blessed weekend. I'm always here. God bless.